What's up, buds? Welcome to another episode of the Earbuds Podcast. This is a podcast where two good buds talk about one good album for a good amount of time. We are your hosts, Ash and Lucas, and today we're talking about an album that I brought on called The Seldom Seen Kid by Elbow 2008. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this record.
Hey, this album came out in 2008?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I don't know why I thought it came out in 2014. That's random.
No, I think it got a remaster or a deluxe or something. Maybe that was like
Maybe that's
2014.
what it was. Yeah, man. I think like these guys actually have a ton of records. Like, is this the
They
only one
do.
that you've listened to by them, or do you like their other stuff?
This is the only one I've heard. I was telling Devin the other day that we were doing this episode, and she recommended the I think two or three previous albums before this.
Okay.
But up until I have a weird. It's I hated Elbow at first.
Yeah.
I did not like them because I saw a live show where the singer was hitting a floor tom. And for whatever that reason, that just made me mad. And
Okay.
like that they were like posers or something.
You
And
thought
then
they were trying to
only
be like Imagine Dragons or something? That's what upset you?
yeah, or
Okay.
something. It
Yeah.
was like you're not doing it right.
That's
Whatever.
random.
Yeah, I don't know. I like there were a good couple bands like that I just had a weird resentment towards.
Yeah.
Um, but it wasn't until I heard Grounds for Divorce many years later, and then from that, listening to this album, and it's slowly growing on me over the course of like probably 6 years.
Yeah.
Um, that I really appreciate this record. I've been listening to it a lot recently, and I wanted
Not just for the
to,
show, but in general.
yeah, not just for the show, just because like when I first really gave this album a chance, I thought like, okay, there's some good stuff on it. But over the years, I've just like appreciated like, oh, like every song on here is like really, I don't know, I really like it. I really like this album. It's interesting. The production is really there. There's
Yeah.
interesting kind of like, I don't know, just the way they go about writing music.
Yeah, I agree. I think I have a very conflicted opinion of this album. Um
Okay.
and and I'm conflicted like personally because I don't know what it is about this record, but like it's like what you said, it's well played, uh great production. It's a lot of the songs are very like theatrical and kind of
Yeah,
and
dramatic.
yeah, dramatic and
Yeah.
big. The singer has a guy has a great voice. I love how much orchestral stuff there is on this record. It reminded me of like a Moon-Shaped Pool by Radiohead a little bit, where they
Oh,
started
interesting.
incorporating a lot more orchestral stuff into their music.
Yeah.
But as I was going through this record, I was like, yes, it's well written, it's well played, it's well recorded. It has so much going for it, but like I don't care. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think that can make sense. I think the vocalist's delivery throughout the whole album is almost very disconnected, even,
What
where
do you
he
mean?
has kind of a mid-range voice.
Yeah,
So it's only brief moments where it sounds like very passionate one way or another.
true. Yeah, but his
Um,
voice is really good.
I love his voice.
Yeah.
Like, what do you? Is it more than a feeling, or are there like aspects of this record that you point to where it's like this is why I just can't get myself to really like give this a chance or
I
like listen to
think
it?
I kept trying to think about it. So I'm just like, dude, it's good music. Like the music is good. And everything about it is good. Why don't I care? Like, why don't I care? Why isn't any of this sticking with me?
Yeah.
Like, why am I getting bored listening to it at times? I was just like, I don't understand. Like, it was the internal struggle I was having listening to the album, and I'm just like, my brain is telling me this is really good music. Like, you should really like this, and my heart is like, yeah, I don't really care though.
You're
And
not feeling it.
and like my favorite part, next to Guy's voice. I like his lyrics. I thought the lyrics were really
Yeah, the
interesting and
lyrics are really great throughout.
really personal sounding and very poetic the way that
Yeah.
he talks about stuff and but there's something about the music in general. And I've already said like how much I like the orchestral stuff and how theatrical and big a lot of these songs are and dramatic they are. But there's something about the music that feels very British, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, it is.
It
You
feels
hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, but if what I mean is like it feels very subdued and like proper.
Almost, almost like it's kind of like looking down on you, or like what? It like
No, that it lacks attitude. It lacks oomph to it. It feels very like, excuse me. Like there's no like, hey, get the fuck out of my way, or there's no like, like there's no attitude to it. There's no edge to it. There's no real energy behind it. And like this is rock music that is meant to be played in a theater with people sitting down
yeah,
and really
yeah.
enjoying it, you know?
Well, I think I can point to a specific live show that they've had where they played this whole album at Abbey Road with a full
Oh
orchestra.
wow. Damn.
Which it seems very much like they know what they're doing in that they're not like this punky rock band. They're not really this. I don't know. A lot of these songs are just like love songs or um,
Just deeply
songs.
personal songs about his life or his childhood or
Yeah, yeah,
it all
and
feels very personal, but it all feels like yeah, none of this this band cannot perform in a club. They are going to perform on stage wearing suits and ties. And
and
and I
and
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 there's
that's
something that
you.
it removes a lot of what I want like rock music to be, which is have a little edge, just even just a little bit, like a little bit of attitude, a little bit of snark, a little bit of like dirtiness or grittiness to it. Like even Radiohead has that, like they have a
Sure.
little bit of that edge. And Radiohead's another, to me, I thought a lot about Radiohead listening to this album, and I was surprised that Radiohead was not considered a similar artist on Spotify. Like I thought this album
I
sounds like Radiohead to me.
Yeah, I mean, they both had such long careers, and we are only listening to a small part of it. Who
True,
knows? But
true.
I think that's a good parallel. I think Radiohead is a good comparison to a good number of the songs on this album.
Yeah, because there's lots of experimentation in the instrumentation on this record for me. It's like combining these really big orchestral compositions with like really like synth and piano and acoustic guitars and like acoustic drums that were there, plus like drum machines it sounded like at some parts. and
Yeah, right.
and I was it all of that kind of combining the organic with the electronic reminded me a lot of Radiohead. And I was surprised that that comparison hadn't been made on anything that I could find. So you're right, and maybe it's just this elbow record that kind of sounds like Radiohead to me. But I don't know, man. There was no sticking power for this album or this band. It wasn't sticky for me.
I I think I understand your sentiment that it is just very British in a way.
It's so British.
The I didn't know this until I looked at the Wikipedia a couple minutes before uh this recording, but the singer Guy Forsyth or
Mhm.
Guy whatever did the brass and horn scorings for
No
this record.
shit. Wow. That's
And,
impressive.
and I think it is the thought of they are definitely like consulting music theory
Right.
and
Proper musicians.
proper musicians, which isn't a
Yeah.
bad thing.
No, not at all.
But if you listen to a song like Grounds for Divorce versus a song like, I don't know, a Nirvana song of
Right.
people who are like not as musically inclined, there's definitely a difference.
Yeah. I think there's a huge difference. And I think it has a lot to do with attitude in general. And I don't, it was hard. It's hard. It's still hard even now thinking about it and talking it out to really pinpoint what exactly I I don't connect to with this because I think there's plenty of proper musicians, proper bands that I listen to that are very well trained musicians and don't necessarily have an edge to them or an attitude to them that I still really enjoy. And and that's the thing is like I was listening to this record and going, yeah, this is really good. Like this is really good music. And acknowledging that I was pretty bored the whole time. Also,
Damn.
it's weird.
Well, let me tell you about my thoughts on this record. Let's see if I can win you back over a little
Well,
bit.
I don't have it's not all negative, obviously, right? Because I'm saying that it's really good. Like that's the confusing part to me.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to like about this album.
Yeah. Well, especially, I mean, on the point of like feeling something and feeling like passion or emotion from musicians. I think it was only when I read the lyrics through this album
Mm.
that I really felt like I understood, I don't know, this kind of melancholic music that they make, this melancholic, ballady, pretty music, which is
Yeah.
not the kind of stuff I'm usually into. I'm usually into something that's a lot more abrasive or experimental or I don't know, not so classically minded, I guess.
Yeah, I think it would be easy to compare these guys to also I keep thinking of British bands, right? But like comparing them to someone like Coldplay. Like I could
Yeah,
I could
I
hear that too. And Coldplay just as much doesn't have an edge or attitude or oomph to them at all. But I can also recognize that Coldplay is a really good band, and I'm also bored when I listen to them.
uh and that's unfortunate, man. I'm one of many white people, as you'll notice, to defend Coldplay. I think they
Oh,
have had a lot of
You're a Coldplay guy?
I'm a Coldplay guy. I'm not super into any of their albums, but I think they've made a lot of good songs. I
They
think they've
have.
made a lot of bad songs.
They have.
Um, but I think it's in the same way as with Coldplay as Elbow, which is this like maybe it's a dreary uh
Mhm.
British street or something, and the
Yeah,
pavement
this
is wet from the rain.
yes, everything feels cloudy.
Everything is
And
cloudy, everything's dreary, there's smoke everywhere.
yeah, there's it's very fog laden and
Yeah.
there is that vibe to it. And it's interesting to pick that up from it kind of like, The National is like an American version of that.
Sure. Yeah, I've never gotten into the National so much. Maybe I'll give them a try. But
I actually like The National quite a bit. Don't listen to them all the time because if I did, I
yeah, we don't need to know what would happen.
yeah,
Uh,
I don't even want to think about what would happen. But yeah, it was there was a lot of those same vibes I was getting from this, and I'm just like, damn, what a group of talented individuals that write really beautiful music. And if I'd seen it live, sitting in a theater, I would love it, and it would be a great experience.
yeah.
And then I wouldn't think to listen to it when I got home, you
Damn.
know? Yeah. So
Well,
that's like, but so you are definitely, I'm so much more of a vibes influenced person than you are. And I feel
yeah.
like you also sometimes need a lot more going on in the music that you listen to than I do.
Yeah.
S- And there is a lot going on in this. So I feel like that's probably what you get out of it, right? Is all the instrumentation and the orchestral stuff that it's just like there's so much to take in that it's busy music for you, even though it's very calm music.
I think only only recently in the last like year or so of listening to this album did I appreciate the variety of instruments and how they're played on this record.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. I love the guy. I love this dude's voice. I love how he makes melodies. He has a lot of catchy. There's some like catchy stuff on here. And I don't know. It's just interesting to think that this was made by. Apparently, this was self-produced by the
What?
four or five members of the band. I think that personally, it could be self-produced, much as like a CEO's kid is a self-starter, right?
Sure. Sure.
It's like I don't think you can get an orchestra and like a brass section and shit
And
with when you're
self-produce that.
self-producing shit just like out of pocket. And also this is their fourth album. So it's like I guess they've gotten I don't know, some money.
I wouldn't be
Um
surprised if one of the members also isn't like an engineer or some sort
sure.
of
Yeah,
sound
that makes
engineering
sense.
school graduate. Uh yeah, man, and I love the how thick guy's accent is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It almost sounds like I don't know, it almost sounds like he's half asleep or something or that
Yeah.
he's just like couldn't care enough to project. But he does some has some passionate moments on here. And even uh like on the last song Friend of Ours, which is a very soft-spoken song, very quiet. Just knowing what that song's about, knowing that's about the seldom seen kid, the titular seldom seen kid that, friend of the band, drank himself to death.
Oh, I didn't know
Um,
that.
yeah, and just finding out that that's what this like last song is about, and even some riot. And I don't know the like last thing that guy says on the album is "Love you, mate," which is what their friend always said when they were
Mm.
parting ways.
Well,
Uh,
that's really sad and sweet. I didn't know that backstory of the album. I mean, it makes sense why this album feels like a just a sad adventure, just like a
yeah,
sad story the whole time.
that could also be it. There's really only like a couple songs that are like lively enough to kind of pick up your attention. You know?
Yeah, and one of them is my least favorite song on the album.
Oh, we can't. That surely can't be. Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared about which song you're talking about. I don't
Gra-
even know if I want to know.
It's grounds for divorce. I'll just rip the band-aid.
No!
Yeah,
That's like one of the best songs. What are you talking about?
it is my least favorite song on the whole album.
Oh, boo.
I'm sorry, dude, but that song sounds like every Ford F-150 commercial for the last like 10 years.
And it's because of them. It's because of this song.
They're
Damn it.
doing the stomp clap, Nathaniel
I
Radcliffe,
I
the
think they
blues
I think
style.
they did use this song as a trailer for Left 4 Dead,
That's what I mean. The song was in a lot of things when it came out,
but
and it was very that sound was so popular in 2008, and it sounds like every one of those songs, and I fucking can't stand that subgenre of like blues rock.
and luckily that's why I think I'm able to just kind of not listen to anything you're saying about it because you poisoned yourself with all that music at one time
Yeah, I
and
was
made yourself
waterboarded
sick of
with
it
it.
forever.
I was waterboarded for like 10 years with fucking stomp, clap, stomp,
Yeah,
clap.
yeah. And
And then rainer,
it's got this
rainer.
real
Like, oh my
rusty sounding
God.
riff.
Yeah.
But I thought that riff was so cool and one of my favorite music moments that I can remember is Elbow live at Abbey Road doing that song. Because the first couple times it's just the guitar, and then the third time it's the whole orchestra, and they're all doing it, and it was so
Oh,
cool to me.
yeah.
Um, and that that video is ultimately what won me over on Elbow, and kind of seeing the breadth of like I don't know how do you make a song as a four-piece band that like would go good in a symphony that would like be used in an orchestra.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about the orchestra is that it's not. I mean, it sounds like maybe that's what they did on Grounds for Divorce was the orchestra kind of mimicked the guitar riff just to
Yeah,
fucking fill it out, make it even louder. But what I like about the use of the orchestra on this album is how much they don't follow the guitar. That the strings and the horns are doing they're adding on to what the musicians are doing, like with the
yeah,
core band. And I think that's the way I want to hear an orchestra be used.
sure.
Because you think about like Metallica's S&M, and I don't know if you ever listen to that.
I haven't, no.
You know what it is?
Um, I'm not sure. I mean, run it by me.
It was pretty big deal when it came out, but it was Metallica with I think it was like the San Francisco Philharmonic or something. Like they did a whole 2 disc record of doing all of their songs with a full orchestra, like a 46
Oh,
piece
sure.
orchestra or some shit.
Yeah.
And so you think like, how does a band, how can a rock band write music that an orchestra could play along with? But it's like even Metallica did that, like even Cypress Hill is currently doing that. Like they're currently on a symphony tour,
I guess so.
so it's like it's not that hard, but for the most part what the orchestra was doing playing with Metallica was just mimicking the guitar and then maybe adding a quarter note or a half note or whatever here and there just to add another extra melody to it,
Yeah.
but that's really all they were able to do. That music wasn't written to incorporate an orchestra, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
then and it's the same with Cypress Hill. Mostly what the orchestra is doing is just recreating the beat and just
Yeah.
playing the beat. And that's cool because it's hearing in a different context. But what's awesome to hear is that the fucking singer of this band wrote the orchestral parts, and that shows me that they were used as their own thing, and you can hear it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best part about this album to me is that the orchestra is its own entity in the music, and it's not like an afterthought at all. It's very
Yeah.
much incorporated into everything that they're doing and adds to it every single time.
Like with the orchestra heavy songs like Mirror Ball,
Yeah.
um
Or like
or
Starlings, the opener. What a
or Starlings, yeah.
great opener.
You could almost you could be mistaken for thinking that there are no like guitars.
Yeah.
Um and
Especially in Starlings, because Starlings is mostly I feel like it's like horns, right? I can't remember
yeah, it's
now.
it's like mostly percussion horns.
Yeah.
The bang, doom, doo, doo.
Yeah. Then you have like Mirror Ball that is using the acoustic guitar. So then that kind of adds this also kind of organic, old school orchestral feel to it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I really liked the use of like the cello on Some Riot. I thought that deep
Oh, sure. Yeah.
bass notes that the cello was playing was just so like added so much vibe to it, to the song. And then like the song before that, The Fix, was this weirdly kind of Fiddler on the Roof, but like a creepy version of Fiddler on the Roof type.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I almost like, to me, I was like, I don't know what this is. This Jewish? Is this kind of gypsy? I'm like, I don't, is it offensive to say this sounds Jewish to me? But it did. And I really liked it. And I thought it was another great kind of musical theater way of using the orchestra. And it's like that didn't miss on this album. Like those were the best parts to me.
Yeah, the fix is interesting. It's in that kind of waltzy like do 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 do
Yeah.
do do, and it does have those little organs.
And it has
That
that
kind of
like it has the organs and it has those really creepy distorted vocals.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that reminded me of
Yeah.
something very specific, and I couldn't pinpoint what song it reminded me of. But I was like, "Damn, is this Gorillaz?" Or is
It very well could
it
be.
very well could be. Yeah, but yeah, I think the use of the orchestra was just so well done on this. And like, do you know? Do their other songs have full orchestras like that?
I
Like,
don't know. I don't
okay,
know. I can only I can assume so. I doubt this would be his first time doing this,
right.
doing it so well, but I don't know. Uh should we like get to the rating?
I mean, have you said everything that you like about the album? Have you? Is it because that's a. It's like I'm done.
Well, I mean, I could
But I'm
tell
willing to indulge you, is what I'm saying.
I it's kind of hard to talk about in this context what I like about the record than you don't, because we both appreciate the music and the production, the songwriting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's just maybe emotionally I was able to like feel a little better what they're doing here. Um and that comes in moments on like uh what is it, The Bones of You? Uh where and I can't move my arm for fear that you would wake. For whatever reason, that moment is so cool to me.
Mhm.
And like the themes of talking about like, oh, I wish I was back to a simpler time when we just like hung out or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that the same? Is that the song that has the line that says like, and I'll kiss you so softly, or I'll give you such a soft kiss that it wouldn't wake a baby
yeah, yeah,
or something? I
I
thought
think
I
it
really like
is.
that line. Yeah, and it's that's what I mean. Like his, and it's just like Radiohead, it's just like Coldplay. The guy's lyrics sound very sincere and
Yeah.
genuine, and that comes across like very clearly.
Oh, I think that was Mirrorball is what that line is off of.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I don't know. He's very poetic. The singer is very poetic in the way he sees the world, when he talks about like love.
Mhm.
And I just thought the songs were really interesting. It's been a while since we've like really looked at lyrics that are like this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. This was one of the first albums in a while that I felt like I should look at the lyrics.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like I appreciate it a little more after doing that, after learning a couple of the things on Genius, seeing what they thought about the record.
Oh,
And
I didn't do that. I read along with the lyrics on Spotify, and even then, I was like, yeah, these are really good.
I mean, yeah, I think they're in this great middle range of like, if you really want to figure out what he's saying and like take some time, you can. It's not so inexplicable that like, the
Right.
meaning is just vague and like you don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, he's talking about very universal things, like
Yeah.
human experience, universal things, but putting them in really cool, interesting ways and like cool imagery, interesting imagery to express different feelings. And he's
Yeah.
clearly, like you said, like dealing with loss on this album, dealing with like intense love and
Yeah.
affection for someone, uh nostalgia and wanting to look to the past or relive the
Yeah.
past. He's talking about his dad on one of the songs, and and walking down the streets where he used to grow up, and he's like, oh my god, my dad used to walk down these streets, and like what does that mean? And
Yeah.
so it's all very, yeah, it's all very personal to him, but so universally human that that's why I
Yeah.
didn't feel like I don't need a breakdown of these lyrics. Like I just need to read along and go like, wow, that's really nice. So I'm like, because then that it means whatever it means to me. But if someone wants to dissect it and figure out what it meant to him at the time, that adds a lot of depth and layers to it, which is cool. But for me, I'm just like, I like taking in these lyrics and figuring out like how I connect with them
Yeah.
personally.
Sure.
And that was easy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I like the musicianship. I don't think anyone is like showing off or anything. I don't think
No.
people have these like extravagant parts. I love the drummer's philosophy across this album of trying to like not do the same thing for every song.
Yeah,
There's a
I
lot
bet
of
it's hard.
there's a good bit of percussion, and there's a good bit of like, I don't know, interesting beats. To me, after having listened to this album for so long, I feel like I can appreciate each song and notice each song differently, which is something
Mm,
I wasn't able to do when I was first listening. A lot of the songs just kind of blended in together for me.
right.
But now, like, I don't know, if you play the song, I could probably know what the title is just from hearing it, just because they're all so distinct in my head.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree that I don't think any two songs sound exactly the same on this album. Like they span a good, breadth of kind of indie rock music
Yeah. But it can be if you kind of have the music on in the background, it can be kind of hard to tell,
for sure.
between like the soft spoken songs. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. That's pretty much all I have to say about the record as a whole.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
And with having said all that, I might as well just give my rating.
go for it.
and this might surprise you. And I've been on the fence. But you know what? I think listening to this album, I'm gonna give it a 9.
Woo!
Yeah, I, there was a moment. There were a couple moments today when I was listening to this record, and I just closed my eyes, and it's just there's so much. I don't know. This is great music. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's like impactful to me. Like some of
Yeah.
these moments are very human and very emotional to me.
Yeah, I mean, damn. And that's such a like it's just like every other rating, right? It's just fucking subjective. So it's like that's what you took out of this, a 9 out of 10. You
I
know,
you
that's
know,
how hard it hit you.
and I almost like my heart almost wants to give it like an 8.7 or an 8.6 or something.
If you're
But
being
like
like objective.
if I'm being what like it's cuz they put so much work into the music and like the lyrics and stuff that I think I'm going to give it a
Mhm.
9.
Well, that is higher than my score is going to be.
Oh, what?
Yeah, believe it or
Really?
not. Uh I
But like an 8.9
I
or
don't
something,
think I don't
right?
know if you picked up on it so far, but I didn't like this as much as you did.
I thought we were both having a great time talking about our favorite album.
I've been having a great time. I've been having a better time talking about the album than I did listening to the album.
Well, what are you going to rate this album, sir?
I think I have to give it like somewhere in the middle of my appreciation for all the amazing, great songwriting and musicianship and production and everything. All of that is kind of top notch on this album. But I was really bored listening to it, and it's weird. And
Yeah.
I recognize it as weird, and I feel like it's a very personal thing for me. But man, I have to come somewhere in the middle, right? So I would give it, you know what? I'd give it a 6.5.
Okay. You're going to give it a 6.5 between what would your heart just give it? If your heart spoke for you. It spoke your heart
Probably
song.
probably closer to like a 3 or a 4. Yeah. Well,
6.5 it is.
yeah, exactly. Like
All
take it.
right.
Take it. Because I think my brain is like, dude, that's an 8, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So it's somewhere in the middle there. I have to comment. But I'm gonna give it an extra half point from the middle between a 4 and an 8. I'm gonna do 6.5 because of just I think about how I would do it if I was doing my album of the day review, or I just like what's my first impression of this? And
Yeah.
it would be everything that the combination of like, man, I just didn't it didn't grab me. I was a little bored when I was listening to it, but it's like, but goddamn, did they write a really good album and did they play it really well? You know, and so it's like I got to give them something, and a
Sure.
6.5 is well deserved for someone like me.
And speaking of which, are you doing those again? Are those happening?
I think about it almost every day, and then I immediately think I don't have the time anymore, and I don't, like I feel like between earbuds and working out almost every day
Yeah.
and doing my weed review videos, plus trying to get my cooking thing potentially going.
It's a lot of stuff.
I have a lot of extracurriculars that I have right now that I'm like, I can't add this obligation of an hour and a half of something I have to do every day.
Right.
It's just
Would
too
you,
much.
what would you think about doing something like once a week?
That would be that's where my head is at. It's
It's
like I
just
think
like
it'd be really
every
fun to do it once a week.
every Thursday or something. It's like
You know
first take
what?
Thursdays.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I think that's definitely a lot easier to take on. But really, what I would love to do is build a new playlist every week and have people listen to it.
And you've been wanting to do this like little radio show
Yeah,
where you have
and I
this
did do it.
playlist and this podcast.
I
Yeah,
did
and
it. I did.
but
I did
it's
3 episodes of it, and now Spotify doesn't offer the service anymore, so I can't keep doing it. And it
but
was so
would you
much
like
fun.
what would you think about making I don't
I mean,
cuz
a mutual friend of ours told me I should just start a pirate radio show, and I'm just like, I don't know how to do that, and I don't care to figure it out. And who's going to listen? It's like I need a platform,
yeah.
and the platform doesn't exist. And so, really, what I want to do is I think I would enjoy more than doing one album review a week. I would enjoy making a playlist every single week and have this like guided curated playlist like that I give you on Friday, so you have good music to listen to all weekend.
And and you say the medium doesn't exist. If the music can't be in the episode, is it a no-go? Is that like a
Yeah,
deal breaker?
yeah.
You gotta have your fucking voice in the middle of every song.
No, I that's the thing is like if I make a playlist, where am I going to share it? Just on my personal, just go like, hey, here's my playlist that for the week. Here's a link to access it. Like it's no one's
I
gonna.
mean, yeah, right? Like you just like
I mean, I don't need me talking in between, but I do want to talk in between the songs for the
yeah,
most part,
sure.
and I want to treat it as a traditional radio format, and because
Hmm.
I've wanted to be a DJ my entire life. And just making a playlist, I'm like, I don't know who's going to listen to this. I could try. I could try and just start sharing my playlists on Instagram every Friday or whatever and see if people like it. But to me, what adds to the whole idea is that I'm talking and I'm telling you why I picked it, and I'm giving you
Yeah.
like a little bit of background information about the band or the song or whatever. And it's that adds so much to the production value of it to me that it's like, yeah, I don't mind sharing a playlist every week. I make new playlists almost every day, and
Hmm.
but I don't know.
that's
I
that's
want the
rough,
like
man. It's
it
like
sucks.
at
It sucks
least
because I
on
spent like almost an hour and a half recording an episode the other day to then realize that Spotify's not offering the service. Like I already did
ugh,
the whole thing. And I was like, fuck.
dude. Well, while we try to think of how to solve that problem, let's
Yeah.
move on to our choice nugs.
All right. Well, I don't have, spoiler alert, any honorable mentions before the choice nugs.
Damn.
And it was
So
kind of
that
hard for
means
me
you
to
just
pick my
really
choice nugs.
loved two songs.
I liked two songs quite a bit. Okay, you know what? I'll throw you a bone.
Throw me a
I
fucking bone here. Come
Mirror
on.
I thought Mirror Ball was a good song.
Oh, yeah.
I liked
Yeah.
Mirror Ball. I liked Starlings. I thought it was an interesting opener.
Mm,
I liked Some Riot for the cello and the really kind of quieter vibes of
sure.
Some Riot.
Yeah.
But one of my choice nugs was The Bones of You.
The Bones of You, that's one of mine as well.
Ah,
That is the second song, right after the first odd one, which just has the horns blaring in and out. This one has a like it almost sounds like a bony rhythm with the way that like the percussion is
yeah.
kind of worked here.
Yeah, I thought the combination of the percussion and like the synthesizer was a really cool, immediately Radiohead-esque
Yeah.
sounding to me. And just almost the only thing I wrote down was good song.
well,
I'm like, well, that was a good song.
of all the songs, this song has like an electric bass in the chorus, which
Yeah.
could qualify it for being the hardest moment on the record.
Yeah, it got pretty aggressive during that really slow, quiet chorus.
I just I I love this song. I love uh the way he sings I'm 5 years ago and 3,000 miles away, and it's just kind of more this bittersweet solemn song with a groove to it.
Yeah, very like contemplative, nostalgic, yearning for the past type
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
song. And I don't know if the Bones of You is like maybe a relationship falling apart type song or something. I don't know. But good song.
uh well, cool. I I'll get to my little honorables.
I'm also
Uh
very tired right now.
no,
So,
dude, I
I'm
I
low
feel
energy.
you.
Yeah.
It's been it's been something today.
Yeah.
Uh as honorable mentions, I want to say Grounds for Divorce. I think is a great song.
Boo.
As someone who doesn't hate 2000s
Just
blues.
go buy an F-250 already.
One Day Like This was the second song that sold me on Elbow.
It's a good song.
I think it's nice. It's one of the few like almost hopeful, lighthearted songs that I think isn't cheesy.
Hmm.
Um, Audience with the Pope, it kind of has that high class ballet feel to it with the
Yeah,
dun 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 dun.
that was the first one that I was like, this is starting to get kind of boring though for me.
Ah,
Yeah,
boo.
it's a decent song though. I just started. I was like, oh, I'm starting to get a little.
I loved how like smooth it was. Um,
Well, good for you. I'd rather
and
listen to "Smooth" by Carlos Santana and Rob
hey,
Thomas.
listen, wouldn't we all?
Yeah, I
If
would
only
hope
every
so.
song could be smooth.
I would hope you would prefer to listen to that than this.
And then friend of ours, I think is a great way to end off the album. But my second nug, which you did mention, but I didn't decide if it was my nug yet, is Mirror Ball.
Dang, yeah. My notes for that is good song.
I it's this is this is one of my favorite moments in music on this song.
Jesus Christ.
It's well, it just takes like a minute for the vocals to come in. It's all this like kind of on this same chord for like a minute and a half. It's the same chord, and then he sings "Everything Has Changed," and then suddenly the strings come in and it changes chords. And I think that moment is so like beautiful to me. I
Yeah.
think it's done so well. It almost gave me goosebumps the first time I heard it recently. Um and it's like I don't know. That's the kind of stuff that's been really piquing my interest in music lately. Are these little things that I like I never I am not into music theory or anything, but this
Mhm.
is the kind of stuff music theory can get you. And so that's
Just
that's like these little interesting moments that are a lot harder to come up with just out of nowhere, I'd say.
yeah. I think it's like just a little nod to the songwriting on this album. That it's like even a small moment like that is not that was choreographed, you know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I love the delivery throughout the whole thing. Um Everything has changed. It's about a love that is making things brighter, which is very sweet. Um
Yeah. Talking about making the moon into a mirror ball, into like a disco ball.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. These are different choice nugs than I would have had a year ago. Um but I love this album, man. I love this album.
Well, I love that for you. My second choice nug is a song I already mentioned earlier, is The Fix.
The
That was my second favorite
fix
song.
is in.
I like the
Yeah,
creepy
that's
vibes in it, man.
yeah, and it's got Richard Hawley doing like every couple lines in the verse, and he has a very like that almost reminded me of the monkey, the gorillas.
Yeah,
During
The Fix
that,
reminded me of the Gorillas.
wait, what is that song where it's like, and on Monkey Island, all the
Yeah,
monkeys,
yeah.
it reminded me of that because it's like such a proper like the fix is in
Or like the Proto Men.
something. It almost sounds like just like classical in a way, the way he
Yeah,
delivers his lines, and it I didn't know that these were different singers the first time I heard this song.
I didn't know that either.
But I think they're a good pair. Apparently, this guy helped write a bit of the song as well, which is very cool. And it's just about like rigging a horse race, which is always a fun thing to do if you got time.
Oh, okay. I never even heard of Richard Hawley. Is he a big UK guy?
I don't know. He must be someone. I want this song is so like gorilla sounding to me.
So gorilla sounding. That
I
ah!
Yeah, that
Then
part
it's
as
just like, what
well.
the fuck?
I don't know. Yeah, well, very cool.
It kind of reminds me of Ghost Town by the Specials too.
I haven't heard it.
It's oh man, it's a classic, but it's like yeah, it's like this town it's crawling like a ghost town. It's very like kind of Eastern, but kind of like are we committing a heist right now kind of music? And that's what yeah, that's what the fix reminds me of, which makes sense because they're doing criminal things.
Yeah, it's very suspicious sounding.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's all I got.
Well, thank you all for listening. We we're on YouTube and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We take classic albums that one of us loves, and we bring it to the other. We listen to the album multiple times in a week, and we just do a critique of it. That's what this whole thing is. That's what we've been doing for about 4 years now.
Going on 4 years, and we're like 3.5 years right now.
Ay, ay, ay. But we don't. We also have chit chats where we talk about music related topics. We used to do fresh drops on albums when they came out. We did that recently with the Action Bronson album, as quick as we
Yes.
could, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, and man, if you like our show and you keep coming back, like fucking tell your friends about us, get them to follow us on YouTube or Spotify or any like podcast things. Like we've been doing this for 3.5 years. Man, we need more people listening to this shit. I want more people telling us what they want us to review. I want more suggestions for albums. It's like let's get the fucking community in on this, bro.
Let's get everyone together, and I'm glad you bring that up. Because next week we're going to be talking to my friend Rinny, who brought in the album "Time Isn't Real" by Grabbits.
Yeah, the Grabbits. I never heard of Grabbits.
Me neither. I listened to the record. It's like an electronic type thing, but not at all like Pendulum. Like the first time we got together with them.
Right, right. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's definitely music that neither of us listen to, so it's gonna be an interesting exercise in learning how to even fucking analyze music like that.
Well, we just did a jazz album. We did Bad Bad Not Good.
True.
We uh I'm down to get into some shit I've never heard, you know?
Yeah, man, I'm into it. I'm into it. We'll stick around, listen to what we have to say about Grabbits. And thanks for listening to this episode, guys.
Bye. Bye
Hey, this
everyone.
was good.
Lucas, this was good.
Okay, bye.